Good morning, students. Today we're going to tackle the second conditional. Okay, are you ready? So remember that in the first conditional, if I go to India, I will travel by train. I'll travel by train. In this situation, you're really thinking of going to India. Whereas in conditional 2, you will hear something like, if I went to India, I would travel by train. But people say, I'd travel by train, not I would. Okay? Well, in this case, the speaker isn't really thinking of going to India. He's just imagining a situation that will probably not happen. Or maybe he's just giving someone advice. All right? So if you hear, if I went, the situation is unreal. The real situation is actually the opposite of what you hear. So if you hear, if I went, it means, but I'm not thinking of going. More examples. If I didn't love you, but I love you, I wouldn't do all this for you. If I could, but I can't, I would. If I were, careful here, if I were rich, but I'm not rich. So if I were rich, I'd buy you a sports car, or I'd buy a sports car for myself. If I knew his number, but I don't know his number. If I knew his number, I'd call him. Let's practice some more. If I knew actually means, but I don't know. If I could means I can't. If I were means I'm not. If you did means but you don't do. If you did your homework, but you don't do your homework. If I had means but I don't have. If you took more exercise, but you don't take exercise, so you're getting fat, okay? If he didn't love you, but he loves you. If I couldn't speak English, but I can speak English a little bit. If you weren't so arrogant, but damn, you're an arrogant little brat, okay? So always keep in mind that if you hear an if sentence with a simple past, the reality is actually the opposite of what you're saying. Yeah? So if I knew, but I don't know. If I could, but I can't. Okay? In the second part of the sentence, you have to use would. So if I knew his address, I'd send him a postcard. If I could help you, I'd help you. If I were rich, I'd buy a yacht. If I had more money, I'd stop working. If you took more exercise, you'd be thinner, okay? All right, students, today we've got a real life English speaker with us. Her name is Gaynor, and we have decided to work together, and I hope we can make as many videos as we can in the future. So here, I'm going to ask her to introduce herself. Gaynor?
Hi guys, well my name is Gaynor and I'm really looking forward to working with you today, Bridget. So without further ado, let's get on with these lessons and have some great fun. Right, let's kick off with a couple of examples then, shall we?
Okay, let's go.
Let's go. Situation 1. If I sold my car, I wouldn't get much for it.
Of course not. Have you seen the wreck you're driving? Situation 2. If I had a computer, I'd type it myself.
You can use mine if you want. Situation 3. If I knew his address, I'd give it to you.
Oh, that's all right. Thanks anyway. Situation 4. If I had a choice, I'd go and live in the country.
But you live in Paris.
Liar.
Brussels. Situation 5. I wouldn't drink that wine if I were you.
Why not? Situation 6. I wouldn't do all this if I didn't love you.
Oh, but you do love me, don't you?
Situation 7. If I were your mother, I'd go bananas.
Thank God you're not. Situation 8. I don't think they'll get married.
Oh, I'd be absolutely astonished if they did. Situation 9. Would Tom mind if I borrowed his bike without asking him?
I wouldn't. You know what he's like. Situation 10. He'd look a lot better if he shaved more often.
She's Welsh. Over there they say often. I usually teach often. Situation 11. I'd go and live in Greece if I knew Greek.
But you don't, do you?
Rich. You don't, do you? Very good.
Situation 12. If you saw somebody stealing a car, what would you do?
I'd call the police. Situation 13. If you saw someone drowning, what would you do?
That would depend who it was. Situation 14. I'd be ruined if I bought everything my daughter asked for.
She's already spoilt rotten as it is.
Situation 15. If you slept under a mosquito net, you wouldn't be bitten so often.
My face is okay, but you should see my legs.
Situation 16. It'd be easier to find a job if I had a degree.
But you don't have one.
Situation 17. She'd look much nicer if she did her hair differently. Situation 18. If you knew you only had 6 weeks to live, how would you spend those 6 weeks?
Oh, I think I'd shop till I dropped. I'd party all night and I'd go to Hawaii.
Fantastic.
Situation 19. Oh, I love him. I couldn't live without him. If he went off with another girl, I'd die.
Oh, don't worry, hun. There's plenty more fish in the sea.
Situation 20. If I saw a lion in my garden, I'd climb a tree.
That wouldn't be of any use. The lion would climb up after you.
Situation 21. Tom is 14.
He can't be. He must be older than that. He's got a full-time job. If he were only 14, he'd still be at school.
Situation 22. If I were stinking rich, I'd drink champagne with every meal.
Cheers, Bridget. Situation 23. I can't read your notes, they're illegible. Why don't you type them? They'd be easier to read if you typed them.
I've told you I didn't have a computer. Situation 24. If I had a university degree, I would now be sitting in a comfortable office instead of standing at a street corner selling newspapers.
Situation 25. I'm not tired. If I went to bed now, I wouldn't be able to sleep.
If you counted birds, it would help. Situation 26. Would you mind if I used your phone? Situation 27. If assholes could fly, this place would be an airport.
If I were a rich man, yabba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dum. All day long I biddy-biddy-bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. Yabba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dum. If I were a biddy-biddy rich, idle-diddle-diddle-diddle man, I'd build a big tall house with rooms by the dozen right in the middle of the town. A fine tin roof with the real wooden floors below. There would be one long staircase just going up and one even longer coming down. And one more leading nowhere just for show.
So let's finish this lesson with a song. I'd rather be a sparrow than a snail. Yes, I would. If I could, I surely would. I'd rather be a hammer than a nail. Yes, I would. If I only could.